my friends. Lenny with Vintage Nationals on the web at nationalguitar.com. Well, I'm here to share with you today what I believe is the very first steel-bodied single cone made by the original National Stringed Instrument Company, probably around 1929. Several reasons I believe that. Number one, the serial number is 0101, and they usually started at 101 on a new series, like the first ukulele was 101. It doesn't have a W in front of it, so this would be prior to them designating the W series for walnut and the P series for polychrome on the two Triolian models, both the walnut sunburst like this and the yellowish pea green polychrome with the palm trees on the back. As you can see, the guitar is in excellent condition. I mean, the paint has lifted. It's got a great alligator-y kind of look to it. And that's due to the fact that it actually has a galvanized steel body. I think they were initially concerned with a steel body having rust issues down the road. They really didn't. The galvanized steel bodies really didn't hold paint as well, as galvanized steel paint doesn't stick to it as well as it does to plain steel. So it's something they discontinued, but they used on the first, I don't know how many, the first maybe 100 or so, maybe more. But this doesn't have a W designation. It's not W101, it's O101. Subsequently, they put a W for the walnut and a P for the polychrome. So this is even earlier than that, and there's a smattering of examples. Maybe the first 200 or so they made without putting that designation and separating those two. It's got the really interesting feature of this notched off headstock. I originally thought someone must have done that as a customization of the guitar, but when I look at it closely, the finish has not changed at all. There's no refinishing on the areas that have been cut off. My opinion in looking at the headstock was this was done at the factory, and this was probably a, kind of a prototype kind of thing. Should we do that? It obviously didn't keep going like this, but I see no signs of refinishing. There's no extra lacquer into the serial numbers you can see. And I would think that was actually done as I look at this at the factory. Couple other interesting features. You can see there's not a third dot yet, so they hadn't start putting, normally there'd be a third dot and a screw would go down through the body into the neck stick below. There's only the two dots, so they hadn't added that third dot yet, which was a good idea, and they probably realized that was something they needed to do to strengthen the entire neck attachment. But we only got the two dots. You don't see the galvanized steel. We've got brass screws. This has been opened before because I can look at these slots of the screws and see that they've been wormed open with an incorrect size screwdriver. When I got the guitar, it had the original cone inside, which I'll show you pictures of. Obviously it has a three-piece body, and I'll show you pictures of that. There's a top, there's a side, and there's a back. It's got the standard tuners that we come to expect on the Triolians and all their higher end models, with the engraving on the side and the Mickey Mouse ears or crowns at the top and bottom. You can tell it's an early tuner because the post is beneath the gear. Ultimately they went to a post above the gear, but the earlier ones had this, and I don't think these have ever been off the guitar. This guitar has been sitting for over 40 years in an attic. The neck is in great shape. It's really beautiful. There's no repairs, cracks, overspray. So there you go. There's not a lot of different things about it. It is a fairly light guitar, so it's not like a heavy sheet metal. I'm going to go ahead and mic it. I'm guessing it's 0.028. It's just a hair over 7 pounds, which is fairly light. It's got its original cone in there. The original cone has the hand-cut outer edge. It's not rolled up yet, which they ultimately started doing. Got the typical dyed maple fretboard, just like the Style O's had. You can see that the black dye has worn off in the heavier play areas. It's actually a beautiful guitar. I mean, I love the look of this guitar. Let me take you inside and show you some of the internal features of this guitar and give you a little taste for how this early guitar was built. Great things happen at Vintage Nationals on the web at nationalguitar.com. Turn this into a bench talk, and we'll talk about the very first steel-bodied National single cone guitar. Let's get the bench. Take a look inside this bad boy. Well, let's take a look at her, get her cover plate off. You can see here's the original cone with the standard dust bunnies that you're going to see. You can also see someone added a bone saddle to this biscuit. The cone itself actually looks structurally very sound. There's one little dimple around the edge, as you can see here, that's easily massaged out, but no one did that, so you can see they tried to put felt underneath the biscuit, probably trying to get rid of a rattle that was caused by that. We can see the edge of the cone here is the very early hand cut, not rolled up yet. Second look at that, it's a very sharp hand cut edge. As we look inside, the standard neck stick construction with the 2 support dowels underneath it. You can see it's a typical dust bunny inside, nice clean steel edge to the well. And now we've cleaned her up a little bit. You can see how clean the well edge looks. Standard neck stick construction, a shim underneath the neck stick in the body and hide glue around the edge of it. And here's the support. You can see it's a 3-ply little support with glue under it. Now as we look at the headstock, I don't see evidence of refinishing here, so I'm going to say that cut off headstock edges were done. Here's the photo that really clinches it for me. There is the flap over the fingerboard without the third screw there. There's the extra hole underneath the tailpiece for whatever reason. Here are the brass screws used on the cover plate. Now we've shined her up a little bit, and I'll go ahead and let you look at some great photos of this guitar as we take you home. Hope you enjoyed this bench talk. Look forward to doing more, and we'll see you on the web at Vintage Nationals, located at nationalguitar.com. We'll see you there. Check out our pick and parlor. We've got hundreds of videos and vintage photos, blog posts. It's a cool place to hang out and learn about National guitars. So we'll see you there, and we'll see you at the next bench talk down the road. Hope you enjoyed this. Cheers.